All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's episode. We have a super special guest with us, Mr. Elric Heck from Austin, Texas. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on, Rudy. I'm excited. This is gonna be great.
Absolutely, man. It's been fun. You and I literally bumped into each other on the streets of Austin last weekend. Coincidentally, we're in so many circles together, masterminds and social groups, but we just randomly ran into each other on the street. And I was like, okay, I gotta get Elric on this podcast. You've been super busy. I know we've been trying to get this worked out for the last year or so, but we finally did it. We're finally here and it's worth it. I think you're actually going to be pretty close to episode 100 of our podcast, so it's like perfect timing.
That's amazing. Perfect. I'm honored.
Yeah, yeah. So for our audience who maybe hasn't seen you, which is pretty hard because you're all over the place on YouTube, or hasn't heard of of you, Elric is a YouTube advertising expert. And founder of adoutreach.com. Over the last 8 years, he's taught thousands of entrepreneurs and business owners how to grow and scale their businesses using laser targeted YouTube ads. And collectively, uh, him and his clients have generated over 300 million in sales from YouTube ads and scaled his own business to over 8 figures. So you got a lot to share with us here today. I'm super excited to hear about that. And also your experience with running live events. You've done three major live events. You've done a couple destination masterminds. You've done, I think, a virtual event. You've done a few over the last 8 years. So, and you've never really have been interviewed on the subject. And you're going to go open Komodo with us today and share with us what you've learned, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is going to be a really great interview. Tune in, lean in, turn off your distractions. You're going to want to hear everything Elric has to say today.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna dive in, share what I really haven't shared before, around events, what's worked, but also what hasn't worked and what we've learned along the way. So I'm excited.
Yeah, beautiful, brother. And I know for our audience who wants to learn how to generate more leads for their live event, how to fill their events, because that's a top of mind thing for people. I know on this interview, you're also going to be sharing some of your best strategies and tips on how to use YouTube in order to do that. And there's even a super special gift for our audience here at the end where they can download and apply it right away into their business to fill their next live event. So super excited for you to share that. Let's start off with a just big picture question. Kind of tell us a little bit about some of the events that you've done. Just kind of give us a runaway so we understand the your experience with events.
Yeah, yeah. So, first of all, before I even created some of our own events, I attended a lot of events because, I think that's a big part of being an entrepreneur is being in masterminds, being in groups, attending live events. And that's when I realized that I actually wanted to create some of my own. And so there's a few different event types, and you actually just reminded me of virtual events too, which is something new that we're testing as well. But basically, what we've been able to do is do several kind of I'd say kind of medium size mastermind style events. So about 80 to 120 people, hotel, ballroom, the full 9 yards, pretty expensive, kind of six-figure, price tag, right around that, but really, really cool events that we put on. We've also put on a couple of destination masterminds in places Cancun and Dominican Republic. And those were about 30 to 40 people each. Then we've done probably about a dozen and a half smaller client fulfillment style events. We call them office days right here in our office. So we've got a really cool, 6,500 square foot office in downtown Austin. So it's a great opportunity to bring our clients into the boardroom, to different spots in the office, to also have breakouts for different sessions. And that's kind of more of an intimate 10 to 25-ish person event where it's more of a mastermind, a little training, and then also hands-on support, an opportunity to meet our team. So that's for clients, existing clients. And then there's been a couple of other things that we've been recently testing. So doing some virtual events, providing value, teaching people YouTube ads. I've done a bunch of webinars, a lot of webinars over the years, but virtual events where it's a little bit longer, half day, full day. That's a little bit newer. We're diving into that. And then also we are doing something new, which is kind of interesting, where there's a bigger event that I'm speaking at. It's going to have a little over 2,000 people here in Austin. It's the Destiny event. and we're doing something special where we're getting people kind of reselling some tickets for people to come in to that, and then also doing an event off the back of that we're going to be hosting. And I don't know how that's going to be or how many people are going to be there. We're going to find out. So that's still in the kind of early stages, but yeah, so that's kind of been my experience overall, the different types of events, and I'm happy to dive in as deep as you want, and then of course I'll also share some of our YouTube ad strategies to help kind of fill up these events as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And for our audience here, if you go to Austin, I highly recommend go to the Omni. Check out this really cool building. I actually used to attend events with Keith Cunningham in that same boardroom that you're describing. And it's just a beautiful space. You have a great office. And I love, for those of you who are watching the video, and if you're not watching the video, I encourage you to go to the video so you can see the view that of Alric in his office. He has a cool view of the Austin skyline. And behind him, he has a spaceship going into space, a little astronaut on his desk. That's something Elric and I have in common. We both have a goal of going to space and being astronauts. So, but that's a whole nother conversation for another another interview for a future podcast. um, but yes, Elric, yes, talk to us about. I mean, I know top of mind for people is the problem is how do I fill my events? How do I get butts and seats? Right. And I'd love to hear your personal experience on how you guys went about building maybe your bigger events, the ones that were 80 to 120 people. I know there's probably some things that worked and some things that didn't work, and some you might do you did differently as a result of those lessons. And please would love to hear what you experienced, what you learned.
So there's definitely a lot of things I learned. There are things that worked really well, and there's also some big mistakes. I'll share a really big mistake in a second that I hope people don't make. But so that's why we learn. I'll share that in a second. But before I get into that, it's just kind of a funny mistake. It's like, oh my goodness. But before we get into that, what's worked? So what's worked really well is a combination strategy. I think the big mistake that people make is by just trying to fill an event one way, either just their list or just social media or just ads, right? And even coming from an ads guy, YouTube ads guy, not just any one of these strategies. I wouldn't put all your eggs in just one basket for an event, especially an in-person event where you have a lot of dollars on the line, where you're committed to, the event space, to whatever room block you have, to, $100 a gallon of coffee, all that stuff. And I'm sure, I know you got strategies to negotiate some of that, but basically, what we found is it's a combination strategy. So absolutely blitz your email list in the best way possible to keep open rates high. So you want to reach out to your engaged people, but let them know, like, hey, we've got this event coming. And there's also a tiered structure where on the email list side, and I'm going to get to the ads in a second, I'll share some frameworks around that. On the email list side, more in advance is when you want to reach everybody. And as you get closer, you might want to, let's say the events we've hosted mostly are in Austin, right? So you want to really reach everybody, then start reaching out to people in Texas, and then kind of that last push is people in Austin to fill any other kind of tickets, which you can do in your email provider, as you can see roughly where people's IP address is, and send out specific emails. So you want to more in advance reach out to everybody. It's something that we learned. When it comes to social media, of course, sharing everywhere, every social media platform that you are doing this event. And then the ads, that is the way to really add some of that extra firepower. And I think that's something that not as many people do. However, I do think it's really important to note these other two things, because when I talk about ads, it's not put all your eggs in that basket and don't even let anybody know on your list that you're doing this event. That's a great way to have that kind of like, all right, I've got those initial sales. Now I'm excited. And it gives you ad spend, because especially if it's a paid event, then you have the ad spend that you can throw into the ads to get that next batch of people if you promote it to your list initially. So then you want to run those ads, YouTube ads. That is my bread and butter. That's what I love and know. And here's the really cool thing. There are so much content out there on YouTube where people already have intent. They're watching content. They're looking to learn. They're looking for the types of value that you're going to provide at your event. So for us, we really dive deep into YouTube ads, into video marketing. And so if people are watching videos on YouTube about marketing, about ads, about YouTube, then what we can do is get in front of those types of people and the types of business owners that we're looking to reach and entrepreneurs that we're looking to reach, and get in front of them with an ad that talks about how we're going to have this event. Especially after you've done one, you've got B-roll. That's the exciting part, because then you can show that B-roll of the event, which also, by the way, even for the first event, If you've spoken at other events, which I'd encourage you to do before you host your own, you can use B-roll of that. So having B-roll, event style B-roll is good to show that it's there. Also making sure it's clear, here's where it is, here's what the date is. So it's specific to that specific event that you're advertising. Now you can reuse certain aspects of the video, but you do want to customize it to that event. And then with the targeting, it's similar to what I talked about in your emails, right? You want to go more broad, whole country or wherever you're looking to reach potential people. Your retargeting list is also really important too. So you want to run retargeting ads and cold traffic to people that are most likely to want to come to your event. So very targeted. What you don't want to do is broad cold traffic, like just anybody that's kind of interested in marketing, because you're just going to lose your shirt on that, because they don't have the know, like, and trust. The two types of people that are going to buy an event ticket from an ad, the two types of people are people that already know you, and now they're excited that you're hosting an event. So they see that ad and like, wow, okay, I'm going to go and do that. And so you do retargeting ads. And the second type of person that's going to buy the event tickets from an ad are people that have a hyper specific problem that you can solve. So I want to learn YouTube ads. I'm watching videos about YouTube ads, or watching videos about how to get more marketing, video marketing, to get more sales. They're watching videos like that. I get in front of them. This is an event. And I either get it in front of them early enough that they can make travel plans, or if they're in the Austin area, I can hit that harder, getting closer to the event. And they say, oh, this is easy. It's right here where I'm at, or in Texas or whatever. Those are the two types of people. The big mistake people make is they go and advertise people for events that essentially are just kind of interested in what they're doing. Oh, I'm kind of interested in marketing, or I'm an entrepreneur. But you see an event, it's a big commitment to go to an event. So the two types of people that do that, I know I've repeated myself, but I really want to ingrain this, because this is what I've seen as the biggest difference maker, are people who already know you and have a big problem that you can solve. Those are the people you want to reach with those ads.
Yeah, that's big right there, man. The common mistake, broad advertising. Just reaching out to people who you think have an interest in what you have to offer, versus the two people that are most likely to buy from you, people that already know you, which you can target through retargeting campaigns, or people that have a hyper specific problem you can solve. And I think it's key to emphasize the word hyper specific. Because if they don't know, like, and trust you already, the only way they're gonna come to you is if you are speaking to their hyper specific problem.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
gold right there, man. That is right there. That's gold. You mentioned a mistake that you've experienced. Can you
Yes.
speak to us about that mistake?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting one, because the thing is, we still were able to salvage this and make the most out of it, right? And we operate on things that are within our control. However, we could have done a better job of catching this before it happened. So we had already done a couple of events, and they were going really well. And we're like, all right, let's do another one. And the team got the dates booked, we got everything good to go, we're spinning up the promotion engine, and we're just not like, what we're realizing is, wait a second, we're not getting the ticket sales that we thought we would. And then all of a sudden, people who bought tickets were backing out of tickets, because I remember when we got the email, hey, I just I just got a ticket, I was really excited to come, but for some reason all the hotels in Austin are $800 a night during that time. We're like, what? And so it turns out we had booked the event not on the exact dates. This is why, if you check just the exact dates, you got to check around it. But the couple days before Formula One, when 500,000 people come into Austin, and it's one of the most, like, popular times other than South by Southwest and, Austin City Limits and Formula One, right? And we'd already not done it during Austin City Limits, which was the 2 weekends before. And Formula One was technically a few days after, but people were coming in early. So even though the dates didn't actually conflict with either of these, what ended up happening was that all the hotels were really expensive. Even the kind of like the standard hotels that would be a couple $100 were like $800. The expensive hotels were over $1,000 a night. And we had a room block, but not enough, because obviously you want to kind of negotiate the room block down, which in this case harmed us. And so what we realized was we had a serious issue because we were already committed to the dates. We couldn't move it. We were already had tickets sold. And then it became like pulling teeth to get people to come to this event. We ended up doing is even people that were reaching out and saying, hey, I want a refund on my ticket. We're like, hey, and I don't want to come. We'll refund your ticket, but we'd love for you to come. You got a ticket anyways. Why don't you just put that towards the hotel? We had some people come that way. We basically just kind of ended up comping some certain people their tickets. We had the room block, we filled that up. But that was the 80. So, we were targeting on each of these events like 100 plus people. The first one I think was about 100 and then 120. And we're like, all right, great. And we actually got the space to be able to have up to 150. We ended up having 80. And it was tough to get those 80 people there. That's also when we learned some things like really marketing to Austin and sending emails to Austin and ads to Austin, which also work in general, for other, your other events. And it's also something that we do with clients too, is one of the strategies we recommend. But yeah, so that was a big mistake that we made. So don't just check the exact dates, check everything around it. And there's also websites. I think my team found this. I haven't looked at this personally, but there's websites that will estimate like hotel costs, because that's the thing. It's a factor. And I think flights were also more expensive, but it was the hotel that was the real surged like 3 times normal price, which makes a difference. Yeah.
This is huge, man. This is so
Yeah.
big. It's such a point that people often overlook.
Yeah.
They pick the dates that work for them, but they don't take into account everything else, the environment, right? I was in Miami several weeks ago for an event I was attending, and it was right around this big music festival. And similar thing. I mean, Miami's already expensive as it is, right? But it was like 10, 20,000 people coming in for this festival. Everyone's bidding over the Airbnbs and the hotels, and it was like minimum $500 a night at a cheapo hotel, right? More like over 1,000 a night in most places. And yeah, we had to, thankfully we got in the room block, but it's a thing, right? People don't go to events sometimes because of the logistics, not because they don't want to go to the event, because of the logistics, the hotels and the flights and all those sort of things. One of the things I remember that has come up time and time again over the years of working with clients is the number one event to not forget. Do you know what it is?
Number one event.
Holiday, one holiday, not
Oh, oh, holiday. Okay.
there's one holiday not to schedule an event over. Do you know what that is?
I mean, I feel like it's a trick question. I mean, like, I definitely, you probably definitely wouldn't around, Christmas and New Year's, but 4th of July, like what?
Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day. Okay, I was gonna say because you remember all these other holidays. I was trying to. Oh, wow,
Yes, like
amazing.
events have been like crushed because of accidental bookings on Mother's Day. Like
Wow.
people will leave an event early, right, to go fly home to be with their mother or to do something with their spouse or what have you, or not come at all. On Father's Day, that's totally negotiable, but Mother's Day is not negotiable. At least in all the things that I've seen, it's fascinating. Some things just stand out, but mark the calendar for Mother's Day and don't have an event anywhere around Mother's Day.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You don't think about that. You think about all the other holidays. You're like, okay, these are the other ones. But yeah, around Mother's Day, that's really interesting. That's
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, that almost cost us like $1 million one time for one of
wow.
the events. Yeah,
Okay.
because Sunday was the Mother's Day of their event, and their event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were, having people sign up for their program Saturday and Sunday, and we noticed that people were leaving Saturday night and Sunday morning, and it was like, whoa, that was a major impact. Or it didn't come at all because it was Mother's Day weekend. Um, awesome, man. Thank you for sharing those specifics and your big mistake that you learned from that. And obviously, from people want to know more specifics about how to use YouTube ads, I know we're gonna have a gift here that's in the show notes, and you're gonna share with us in a moment where they can go download that and they can see the specifics and they can even talk to your team about how they can get your support in that. Um, but when it comes to now, you promoted the event, you got your 80 people to 120 people there. Now they're at the event. How do you keep people engaged? How do you keep people doing the work and getting the result and not in the hallway, or not on their phones? Like how did you go about keeping their attention for that.
Yeah. That's a great question too. So it's dynamic content that basically mixes up between a variety of different things. So one was giving kind of the core presentation that's also sharing what they're going to learn at the beginning. So there was kind of an opening keynote where I would walk them through how everything I'm going to be sharing and teaching and training has a purpose, and all of it comes together to help them get the best success and results that they're looking for, not just with YouTube ads, but also their overall marketing. So essentially, I will get them excited for the trainings. I will also have it be interactive, right? What are you looking to take away from this event? And so essentially, that opening keynote was an opportunity, because I knew everybody would be there, for me to be able to share and set the stage for the actual event, why every session is important, tease the different sessions, the guest speakers that we have, the fact it's going to be interactive, and also kind of tell a narrative that weaves all of it together. So, we had different themes. They were, one of them was the 7-figure YouTube ads live event. Then we did the 8-figure YouTube ads live event after we hit 8 figures as a company. And it's like, all right, well, part of it was we actually walked through how the YouTube ads work, but also how other elements of our business worked, how our overall marketing strategy worked, our YouTube channel growth strategy. We brought in, different speakers. Actually, I think at that event, we had, Charles Bird, we were both talking about, on the JV strategic partner side. We were talking about him earlier. You were just, I think, here with him at an event. And so we brought in like strategic people who I know can create a really good talk. And one of Charles's talks, I don't know if you've seen him give a talk, but like, it's actionable, right? It's designed to help people create JVs within the room. So now that's just an extra value, because everybody wants it, but not everybody is going to say like, hey, how can we create win-wins? But if you get somebody in who's like a speaker that can kind of do that, that's really valuable too. And I knew I wanted that at the event. So essentially, I set the stage, shared the value they're going to get. There was a theme underlying the overall event. And then it was a combination of even the stuff they knew. So like some of the people knew, and this was also, those events were ascension style events. So we were filling that with current and past clients, and we sold a few strategic tickets. For the last one though, we needed to sell tickets outside of it because that's where we had the issue with the client. So just to note, so like the last one was more going out there and selling and filling it with ads. Whereas the other ones were a little bit more ascension based. We had specific tickets that we sold as well, but I want to note that. Now, that said, with some of the other things we talked about, the virtual event and other, those are non-clients. Those are like all like kind of ads and stuff like that, right? And we've also, somewhat I'm speaking to earlier, it has to do with not just what we've experienced, but also what we've helped our clients with too. But these were a little bit more ascension style. So they understood some of these things. And what we were able to do was train and educate and teach them new things that we haven't taught before, and get a little bit more advanced or current or modern. So with YouTube ad strategy, with the YouTube channel growth strategy, but then also the elements of scaling to 7 figures or scaling to 8 figures, and what they need to do at each phase, other elements that are going to be valuable to them, because at that event, the ascension was going into our mastermind. So these are people that have bought, maybe our YouTube ads training, our coaching program, or our courses, or something that's gotten them to the spot where they've consumed more of our content. They become a customer for the most part. And then there were some strategic tickets sold at each of these, but for the most part, they were customers. We wanted to ascend them to that higher tier, and that's what we were able to do by taking them on a journey and having more workshop style. So we had them do breakouts in their individual groups. We had them journal certain things. We had engaging guest speakers like Charles come in to encourage them to find value within the room and really get to know each other. We had breaks where they could connect with each other. We did everything in the room, so including the food. We got a great kind of catered from the hotel, which is pretty expensive, but kept people in there. And yeah, overall, just kind of created a really cohesive environment, and that kept people engaged. And then, we were able to present our offer.
Awesome, man. Very cool. Yeah. So, keeping people engaged through giving them actionable content is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say. Like they're in there, they're doing it, and you're sharing with them exactly what you did to get to seven figures, multiple seven figures, and eight figures, right? So like giving them the step-by-step blueprint. And they were existing clients or past clients, so you already had a level of trust with them. And your intention was to send them to deepen your relationship with them into a higher level of relationship, which actually brings us to the next great talking point is um, you and I both know that you and I attend events, we host events. People come to an event, they get inspired, they get new information, they get new ideas. But oftentimes, if they leave the event without getting some kind of support, life gets in the way. It's not because they don't have the positive intention, but just they get distracted or they go to another event or priorities shift, right? So you and I know it's our moral obligation to help them get that support so that they can get the results that they're looking for. How do you go about at your events, um, enrolling and supporting people in ascending into your higher level programs? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about those programs too.
Yeah. So, the way that I went about it was I structured the overall theme towards what I wanted. So it's a little bit different with this type of event, which is more past and current clients that are ascending versus something that is going to be an event where, you're taking brand new people who are discovering this. And I also think that was a mistake that I made for the final event, because about half that event, the 80 people were newer people, and we kind of did the same playbook that was originally planned. We probably should have, because it's hard to cater to two different audiences. And so we chose to cater to the existing audience. So that final event, there was definitely a lot of like, learning lessons, on that. And we've done now more virtual and more of the smaller, more intimate client events. So instead of doing, kind of a bigger event, once or twice a year, we've been doing kind of quarterly office days, kind of for clients. That said, I know we've been talking about the opportunities to do something bigger in the future, but basically in terms of that kind of strategy, actually, I want to make sure I answer the question completely. Could you kind of let me know like exactly what
Yeah.
you're?
So specifically, at your events, how do you go about ascending people, enrolling them into your next high level program?
Yeah. So for the ascension style, we'll talk about how what we've already helped them with has built a foundation, and now we want to actually accelerate that. And I will give a presentation on these were 2-day events with a third day, which was like an office day for clients only. So we had a third day, which people, if they ascended, could go and do that. Now, also we know some people, moving travel logistics around is complicated, but we had people who stayed for that, and some people who didn't. But basically, what we did was we had 2 days, and then we had a smaller, for the people actually in the mastermind, the higher level, like actively in that, or people that upgraded, which was that office space style, like I was mentioning, where it was in our office, really hands on, let's say 25 people. And so what we did was on that second day, we present the offer halfway through the day, we give them more value, and then we do kind of a final repitch where we stack the value of everything that they're going to be able to get if they ascend and upgrade to the mastermind. We gave them, different pricing models and options. We had them be able to go to the, the back of the room where we were, live enrolling people and upgrading people. One thing that we did that was actually really, I mean, it was specific to us because we were doing this in the same building as our office, but we had people go up to the office for a mixer on the even the first night, and that's actually where we started presenting offers to specific people, even before it was officially kind of pitched, and we were really getting to know them a little bit better, and so that was an opportunity. And then we essentially had a special dinner for all the people that had upgraded, and then if they were still in town or able to move their flights, we were able to, that next day, they could come to the office day, which was the more intimate event, and more of a action oriented, right? So let's create a custom game plan for you and strategy for you to scale.
Awesome. Yeah. So big picture, it was a 2-day experience with an optional third day that they could stick around for if they signed up.
Yes.
And by the end of the first day, you had a social for people that expressed interest, and then you there were, you know, starting to present some of your offerings. Obviously, on the second day, you made your official offer, and then you gave them a dinner that they got to attend that evening, if they joined your program, and then if they could stick around, they could have the next day. So it sounds like you built in like reasons for them to sign up there versus wait, right? Go go home and think about it, which one of the key problems when it comes to events and is, yeah, people need to make a decision while there's some kind of committed action. And so whatever we can do as event leaders to support them in doing that, which sounds like you did with the dinners and the socials and the special day, get them in action, right? And get them to take that next step, which is awesome. All right, thank you for sharing that with us. I know we're kind of coming towards the end of our show here. Any specific, I don't know, kind of words of advice or recommendations you'd have for our audience when it comes to um, promoting or filling their next live event?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think the big thing to look at is, looking at these different buckets, but also what the event is. And even if you're doing, by the way, a client or past client event, we ran, and we will do this, we'll run retargeting ads to clients. And we have a big enough, audience of, thousands of people that have worked with us. But there's different ways to do this, right? Your email list, social, and ads. So I want to be clear, some people here might be doing events or in-person events that's all for new people. But it could also stand if you're doing this for your existing people or people that are already knowing you. Those three buckets, they're following you on social media, and you can also say, hey, there's a few tickets available, because then you can charge enough. What we did too is, like, we charged for clients, we basically, so past clients we charged at cost, current clients was free, and then new potential people we charged, I think like 2 or 3 times what the cost was, except on the last one where we had to, and we were selling more tickets. But anyways, the hotel stuff. But in general, we had maybe like a dozen of those people buy it just because they had seen it somehow, social media, like wherever, ads, and they just weren't actively a client yet. But basically, what we were able to do is that combination of those three things. With your YouTube ads, you want to have a hook, educate, call to action. The PDF will dive into that. And then target it in front of the right people at the right time. High intent. So if you're going to cold traffic and you're not doing retargeting lists, you want to make sure it's high intent people. Because the other thing is, we don't just have the experience running this for ourselves. We have a lot of clients that we've worked with, and we've seen what works and doesn't work. Broad does not work. And as you get closer to the event, and there's different rules of thumb. You'd probably be more of an expert at this, Rudy, but definitely as you get closer, a few weeks out from the event, really, especially a couple weeks out from an in-person event, you got to shift it all to only local area people that can drive there when it comes to ads. And potentially your email list too, if you don't want to burn out that list, because those are the people more likely to actually make a last minute decision to attend an event. So I've just seen people waste their budget by going nationwide 2 weeks before an event. But people miss out if they don't run ads or send emails to the local area leading up to it. If you have a few tickets left, do that, or post on social media, post wherever, like, hey, you've got more tickets, and call out the local area. So those are the different recommendations. Like I said, I've got my 19-page YouTube ad strategy PDF at outreach.com/gift. That's ADOUTREACH.com/GIFT, at outreach.com/gift. I know you're going to put it there in the show notes, and that'll kind of walk through all of our checklist and strategy on how to use YouTube ads to promote your event.
Perfect. Yeah. So go ahead, go to the somewhere down below this video or audio, at outreach.com/gift. Click that, download that PDF. Learn from the best. Elric is one of the best in the game. He's been doing the YouTube game since I think YouTube was born, and probably even before then. And I have several friends and colleagues who've worked with Alric, have learned with Alric, and they all attest that his stuff is the best when it comes to YouTube. So if you're curious about how to use YouTube to fill your next event, download the PDF and connect with Elric and his team. Thank you, sir. It's been a wonderful interview. It's been great to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Rudy. It's been a pleasure.